My children were banned from my mom's 60th birthday because the party was adults only, but then I saw everyone else bringing their kids. "Your children wouldn't fit in," my mom said. So I left early. The next day, I did this, and everyone went crazy. "Hi, my name is Rachel Whitlow. I'm 29, married, have 2 sons, and a master's degree in special education. I work full-time at a public elementary school and somehow still find the time to remember everyone's birthdays in my extended family, usually before they do. And yet, despite all that, I've spent most of my life being told I'm too sensitive, too intense, or my personal favorite, just looking for attention. Middle child syndrome? I used to think that was it. I have an older brother named Chris who's a dentist and a younger sister named Chelsea who still refers to herself as the baby, even though she's 26 and owns a photography business. Me? I'm the one who always volunteered to host, always made sure everyone's kids had a place to nap, and always picked up the slack when someone forgot to bring a dish to family events. But none of that stopped me from being treated like the family afterthought. So when I got the invitation to my mom's 60th birthday party, I'll admit, I was caught off guard. First of all, it was formal, like printed in the mail formal. My mom is an ex-event planner, so that part wasn't surprising. What was surprising was the tiny italicized note at the bottom. "Adults only, please. Let's keep it classy." I read it 3 times, then again, then handed it to my husband David and said, "Is it just me, or does that sound pointed?" He squinted. "You mean like pointed at us?" "Or at Liam." Liam's my oldest. He's 7, brilliant, funny, a walking encyclopedia of dragon lore thanks to his obsession with how to train your dragon. He's also autistic, which, in our family, basically makes him a unicorn everyone pretends not to see. Max, my younger one, is 5 and the kind of kid who charms cashiers without trying. But both my kids have been to every birthday party, every reunion, every awkward Thanksgiving, and not once have we ever been told not to bring them. So yeah, it felt targeted. But I didn't want to start drama. That's the thing about being called dramatic your whole life. Eventually you start walking on eggshells just to prove you're not. So I booked a sitter, got a dress, and RSVP'd yes. The party was held at this upscale winery just outside of town. Very Instagram birthday. Valet parking, string lights, a cake so big it probably had its own zip code. I walked in alone, already a little on edge from the whole exclusion thing. And then I saw it. The kids' table. Balloons. Tiny plates. Folded name cards with glittery marker letters. And sitting there, laughing, eating cake, having the time of their lives, were my nieces, nephews, and half a dozen cousins' kids. I stood frozen in the doorway like someone had slapped me. Not metaphorically, I mean actually slapped me, because I didn't misunderstand. I wasn't overreacting. I was excluded. My kids were excluded. I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe something changed last minute. Maybe she told me it was adults only and forgot to tell everyone else. That would be bad, yes, but maybe not malicious. Then I saw the balloon artist, and the magician, and the freaking puppet stage. I found my mom near the patio, drink in hand, laughing with Chris and Chelsea. She looked surprised to see me. "Rachel," she said, like I was the one who showed up uninvited. "Isn't this beautiful?" I didn't waste time. "I thought this was an adults-only party." She blinked at me, tilted her head like I was the problem. "Oh, well, it was just easier to say that. You know how Liam can be." I just stared at her. She smiled, tight, polite. "Your children wouldn't fit in." There it was. Not a misunderstanding. Not a mistake. A decision. My kids, the ones I had to explain the party to and then lie about why they couldn't come, were intentionally left out. Because they didn't fit in. Not all kids, just mine. Chelsea chimed in from behind her wine glass. I'm sure you understand. And in that moment, I did. Oh, I understood perfectly. I didn't say a word. I didn't make a scene. I just turned around, walked past the magician pulling scarves out of his sleeve, past the bubble machine, past the glittery name cards, and out to my car. I sat in the driver's seat, dress bunched up under me, hands shaking, and I realized something I should have realized years ago. They never wanted my children to fit in, because they never wanted me to. I didn't sleep that night. I laid there staring at the ceiling, one arm draped across my forehead like I was in some kind of Victorian melodrama, while David snored beside me like a man unbothered by generational trauma. I kept replaying it in my head, my mom's voice, that cool, patronizing smile, and those 4 words that landed like a punch I didn't see coming. Your children wouldn't fit in. Not, couldn't come. Not, it was an oversight. They wouldn't fit in, like pieces from the wrong puzzle, like we didn't belong. I thought about Liam, sitting cross-legged on the living room rug, wearing his homemade dragon wings, explaining for the 20th time how Toothless's tail fin works. I thought about Max chiming in with completely unrelated dinosaur facts just to feel involved, and I thought, this wasn't new. This wasn't even surprising. It was just the first time they'd been so blatant about it. Let's rewind. Growing up, I was the sensitive one, the moody one, and of course, the attention seeker. Which is hilarious, by the way. You know what gets you less attention in a family like mine? Crying, having opinions, being different. Want to be invisible at a Marsh family dinner? Just express a feeling. When I was 9, I wrote a poem for a school project about feeling lonely. I read it to my mom, thinking maybe she'd say something nice. She looked up from her magazine and said, "Oh, sweetie, you don't have to make everything about you." Another time, I had a panic attack during a family vacation. I was 15, couldn't breathe, chest tight, tunnel vision, the whole thing. My dad asked if I was faking. My mom told me to go lie down until you can behave normally again. Meanwhile, Krishu once stubbed his toe and got 3 people rushing over with ice and a pillow to elevate it on. I learned pretty quickly that the only acceptable emotion in our house was neutral cheerfulness. Be pleasant. Be quiet. Be easy. I was none of those things. And now Liam, well, he's not either. Not because he doesn't try. God, he tries. But he was born into a world that doesn't always make sense to him, and he's doing his best to decode it, one dragon fact at a time. He got his diagnosis last year after a long, exhausting process that involved more paperwork than buying our house. When I told my parents, my mom blinked like I'd just informed her he had 3 heads. "Oh, well," she said, stirring her tea, "you always were theatrical." Right. Because autism is just a new form of attention-seeking, apparently, like we both caught it from the same imaginary virus. David was ready to go no contact then and there. I wasn't. I still had this tiny, traitorous hope that they'd come around, that if I explained enough times, if I proved Liam was smart and kind and worthy, they'd get it. They didn't. They'd say things like, "He's so intense. Maybe if he socialized more? Do you think he uses it as an excuse?" Meanwhile, Max, who's loud and wiggly and forgets to flush the toilet 40% of the time, got nothing but praise. "Such a good little boy. Look at those manners. He's just so easy." I started seeing the pattern. Easy equals lovable. Difficult equals tolerated. Autistic equals excluded. And not just by accident. On purpose. Like at the birthday party. I didn't get it at first, but now I do. That invite wasn't about keeping things classy. It was about keeping things comfortable. For them. Because Liam, God forbid, might talk too much about dragons. Or get overstimulated by the noise. Or not play normally. or just exist in a way that makes people squirm because it's not what they're used to. But you know what else makes people squirm? Truth. And the truth is, my family has never known what to do with me either. When I got a scholarship to college? Wow, didn't expect that. When I bought our first house? Must be nice to have a husband who handles money well. When I started teaching? Oh, so you just play with kids all day? Every accomplishment I've had has been reduced to luck, or David, or me being extra. Every hard moment I've faced has been reframed as my own fault for being difficult. When I had postpartum depression, my mom suggested I try smiling more. When Liam's diagnosis came, my dad said, "I'm sure he'll grow out of it, like you did." I didn't grow out of anything. I grew through it, through their silence, through their jokes, through every offhand comment that told me I was wrong for being the way I was. And now I'm supposed to swallow that same poison when it's directed at my son? No, thank you. It's weird how fast things click into place when you finally stop making excuses for people. By the next morning, I knew what I had to do. David was already on board. "We're done, right?" he said, over coffee. I nodded. "Yeah, we're done." But before I could take a breath, the photos started rolling in. Facebook, Instagram, a text from my cousin Emily. "Why weren't the boys there? They had a whole dragon-themed craft table. Liam would have lost his mind." Yes, Emily, he would have. There were group shots of the kids' table, pictures of Max's cousins playing tag in matching outfits, a video of the puppet show, dragon-themed of course, while my son sat at home asking me why we couldn't go to Grandma's birthday. And the kicker? That craft table? I helped pay for it. Yeah. The party was funded collectively. My siblings and I all chipped in based on our income. Since David and I earn more than Chris and Chelsea, we contributed more. So to recap, I paid for the event. I paid for the entertainer. I paid for the crafts. And my children were intentionally excluded from enjoying any of it. At that point, it stopped being just personal. It became disrespect, disregard, disposability. So I wrote an email. Calm, polite, clear. "Hi, Mom. I noticed the party was not in fact adults only. I also noticed that the children's activities I helped pay for were enjoyed by every kid except mine. I'd like a refund of our contribution, as the event was misrepresented. Additionally, David and I will not be attending the upcoming family reunion. We're taking a step back for now. Rachel." No anger, no long explanation, just facts. The fallout? Oh, it's coming. But I will come to this later. Right now, I'm just sitting here, watching Liam build a cardboard dragon out of cereal boxes, while Max tries to convince me it breathes real fire. And for the first time in a long time, I feel something close to peace. Here's a fun fact about people who treat you like you're disposable. They tend to panic when you actually dispose of them. I sent that email to my mom, short, direct, nothing dramatic. I hit send, closed my laptop, and immediately felt like I needed a drink and a nap at the same time. David raised his coffee in a little silent toast. "To choosing violence politely." I gave him a weak smile. "To pissing off the entire Marsh family before 10 a.m. And then we waited. It only took 3 hours. My mom didn't call, of course not. She forwarded the email to the family group chat with a single comment above it. "I'm just so hurt. I don't even know how to respond to this." Classic, passive aggression in Helvetica. The responses started rolling in like an avalanche of emotional manipulation. From Chelsea. "I just don't get why you're doing this to Mom. She worked so hard on that party." From Chris. "We all know Liam struggles with big events. Maybe Mom was trying to protect him." From my Aunt Karen, who wasn't even at the party. "I think Rachel's just overwhelmed. New school year, 2 kids. It's a lot. Let's give her space." Ah, yes, the overwhelmed mom narrative. So much more comforting than facing the fact that I was excluded on purpose. I didn't reply. I let them talk, which, if you've ever been labeled difficult, is apparently the worst thing you can do, because silence, that's power, and they hate when you finally learn to use it. By the next day, my mom broke and texted me directly. "I'm sorry you felt hurt. That wasn't my intention, but asking for money back feels petty. You contributed to a family event, same as everyone." Pause. Same as everyone? I contributed $600. Chelsea gave $200. Chris forgot to send his until the week before and chipped in $150. So no, not quite the same. Also, I didn't get the same as everyone. Everyone else's kids got a party. Mine got a babysitter. I showed David the text. He muttered, "Should have sent an invoice instead." I was tempted. Instead, I wrote back, "It's not about the money. It's about being lied to. If you wanted my kids excluded, you should have had the spine to say that. But telling me it was adults only, then hosting a literal puppet show? That was intentional. I'm just adjusting my involvement accordingly." She didn't answer. But you know who did? Chelsea. She FaceTimed me, looking very proud of herself for taking the high road, which apparently involves a half glass of rosé and starting every sentence with, "I'm just trying to help." "Rach, seriously, can we talk about this without making it a thing?" I blinked. "Without making what a thing? You mean the part where my kids weren't invited to a party I helped fund?" She sighed. "You always do this. You make everything about exclusion, about Liam. It's exhausting." Exhausting. There it was again. My feelings? Exhausting. My kids' neurodivergence? Exhausting. My refusal to shut up and smile through it all? Exhausting. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just said, "We're done pretending this is normal. Tell Mom I meant what I said." Then I hung up. Blocked her. For now. That weekend, something unexpected happened. The cousin group chat lit up, only this time a few people were on my side. Emily messaged me privately. "I didn't realize your invite said adults only. That's messed up." Then Sarah, who's had her own drama with my mom in the past, texted, "I'm proud of you. I know how they are." Apparently the news had started to spread. The adults-only party was only adult-free for my children. The rest of the family had no such restriction, and people were talking. By Monday, my mom tried a new approach. She called David. Yes, she skipped me entirely and called my husband, who, by the way, had been about 2 seconds away from cutting them off a year ago. He only kept going to family events because I begged him not to make things harder. This time, she got him on speaker while he was changing a light fixture in the kitchen. He barely said anything, just listened while she cried about losing her daughter and feeling attacked. Then she said, "I know Rachel listens to you. Can you please help her understand how much she's hurting everyone?" He turned off the light, paused, then said, "No, she understands perfectly. You're just upset she finally stopped letting it happen." Then he hung up. When he told me, I didn't say anything right away, just stood there staring at him like he was an entirely new species of human. Because in that moment, I realized, he's the first person who's ever backed me without conditions. I was taught love meant tolerance, endurance, emotional gymnastics. David taught me love is safety. On Tuesday, my mom sent one last message. "If this is really what you want, to tear the family apart, then I guess there's nothing I can do, but I hope you think about the example you're setting for your kids." And I did. I thought about it a lot. What example was I setting? I was showing them that silence isn't strength, that being included shouldn't require shrinking yourself, that love without respect is just manipulation in a nicer font. That afternoon, I replied, "The example I'm setting is that boundaries, Chriser, that love isn't earned by enduring cruelty, that my children don't have to twist themselves into something palatable to be welcome. You didn't just exclude them. You made them feel like misfits in a family that should have loved them loudest. That's not a misunderstanding. That's a choice. And now I'm making mine." No signature. No emoji. Just truth. And then I blocked her, too. Want to know the kicker? The family reunion is falling apart. It was supposed to be in 2 months. The Airbnb isn't booked. The spreadsheet isn't made. No one's coordinated meals, activities, or travel. Because guess who used to do all that? Me. Rachel the attention seeker. Rachel the dramatic one. Rachel who apparently is only valuable when she's silently useful. Without me, the glue is gone, and the cracks are showing. Emily messaged again last night. "So, is it bad that I'm kind of glad someone finally said it? Honestly, the way they talk about Liam behind your back has always made me uncomfortable." Behind my back. Of course, but not anymore. I'm not a secret. My son isn't a shame. And my silence is no longer available for rent. You'd think blocking my entire immediate family would be enough to make the message clear, but no, they doubled down. Because people like my mother don't retreat when called out, they regroup. And people like my sister, they turn the group chat into a battle strategy session. So when I saw David standing by the window one Saturday morning, mug frozen halfway to his mouth, I knew something was off. "You're not gonna believe this," he said. I looked up from Liam's cereal-spilled science project. "If it involves clowns, emotional blackmail, or Chelsea, I'll believe it." He stepped aside. There they were. All 3 of them. My mom, Chris, and Chelsea, standing on my front porch like they were filming an intervention episode of Dr. Phil, Narcissist Edition. "Don't answer it," I said instinctively. But David's already halfway to the door, because he lives for this kind of chaos. He opens it just enough to say, "She doesn't want to talk to you." My mom speaks through the gap like the ghost of every passive-aggressive PTA mom. "We just want to make things right." Right. That's rich. Because making things right apparently involved Chris saying, "You made Grandma cry," and Chelsea blurting, "This is literally going to destroy the reunion." That's what they were worried about. Not my kids, not the exclusion, the reunion. I didn't go to the door. I didn't even get off the floor. I just sat there with Liam, gluing glitter to cardboard wings while my family tried to gaslight me from the lawn. Eventually, they gave up. David closed the door. Liam said, "Why was Grandma yelling?" I said, "She thought she was in charge." He nodded solemnly and went back to gluing. The next hit came online. See, our extended family uses this private forum, a message board from the early 2000s that somehow never died. Think of it like Facebook's awkward, nosy cousin. It's where we post reunion plans, birthdays, prayer requests, and the occasional passive-aggressive meme. Chelsea posted first. A long, sighing message titled, "Family Isn't Supposed to Hurt." It started with, "I debated whether to say anything, but silence enables division. We all know there's been tension lately. Some people have chosen to withdraw from the family and lash out over things that could have been handled with grace." Handled with grace. Let me translate. I was supposed to smile while they excluded my children and handed me the bill. The post went on to say I demanded money back like it was ransom, refused to forgive honest mistakes, and attacked Mom during her milestone birthday. The comments were a mixed bag. Some of the older relatives, people who hadn't seen me since 2014, chimed in with supportive pats on the head. "Family is hard, but you only get one." Sounds like someone needs Jesus and a nap. I didn't comment. Not yet. Because when you've spent your whole life being accused of overreacting, you learn to gather receipts before you speak. The next morning, I posted one reply. Just one. I titled it simply, "Setting the Record Straight." Then I attached a PDF. It included a screenshot of my invite. Adults only, let's keep it classy. A photo from the party with the glitter-covered kids' table, balloon artist, and magician. My Venmo transfer of $600, labeled Mom's 60th, per family split. A list of past contributions I'd made. $400 toward the last reunion Airbnb, $300 for Christmas dinner 2 years ago, $250 for Grandma's 85th birthday cake. A redacted message from my mom joking, "Well, you were always a little dramatic. Liam gets it honestly." And then, my note. I wasn't the one who ruined the reunion. I just stopped organizing it. I wasn't the one who divided the family. I simply pointed out a truth everyone was too polite to say out loud. Not all of us were ever fully accepted here. Some of us were tolerated, some of us were watched, and some of us were quietly pushed aside. My son wasn't excluded by accident, and I'm not staying quiet about that anymore. Then I logged out. I didn't go back to see the comments, but David peeked. Apparently, it broke the forum. Some relatives messaged me privately, thanking me. Others stopped responding altogether. A few texted my mom their support, and one of the older cousins asked if we were still doing the reunion or what. Spoiler, we were not. No one stepped up to host. No one could agree on who was in the group chat or who was causing tension. The whole thing fell apart like a Jenga tower built on denial. So we hosted our own party. Not a reunion, just a birthday. Liam turned 8. We didn't invite everyone, just a few people who'd stood by us, Emily and her kids, my coworker Marla and her wife, a couple neighbors, and Aunt Lucy, who quietly left the forum and mailed Liam a card that said, "You fit in exactly as you are." He wore his dragon wings, of course. Max insisted on being a fire wizard. They had a scavenger hunt, a cupcake bar, and a homemade piñata shaped like a volcano, which Liam lectured us about for scientific inaccuracies before gleefully smashing it. It was small, peaceful, joyful. At one point, Liam turned to me, frosting on his cheek, and said, "Mom, I really like this party. It's the kind that doesn't make me tired." And I nearly cried into the cupcakes, because that's all I ever wanted. Not perfection, not glittery acceptance, just a place where we could breathe. Sometimes people ask if I regret how it all unfolded. No, not even a little. I didn't destroy the family. I just stopped pretending it wasn't already broken. And in the quiet that came afterward, I built something new. Not bigger, not louder, but real. And Liam? He fits just fine. Right here. It's been 3 years. Liam's 11 now, still into dragons, though he's expanded to dinosaurs and marine predators. He once gave a 20-minute TED Talk at the dinner table about the hunting patterns of the Dunkleosteus. Max pretended to fall asleep halfway through, but they both ended up laughing so hard they cried. David and I moved last year. New neighborhood, bigger yard. No emotional landmines buried under family gatherings. And the people who come to our home now, they're the ones who choose to show up with love, not expectations. The reunion? Never recovered. There are still 2 separate family group chats, I think. I'm not in either. Chelsea sent a Christmas card once. I didn't open it. And my mom? She still tells people I distanced myself. She's not wrong. But the distance? It saved me. And Liam. And that's what Chrisers most. So what do you think? Did I do the right thing? Was I too harsh or not harsh enough? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to hear more stories like this one, hit subscribe.